Imagine you are a US soldier in 1966, stationed at Dongdu Base, Cu Kai. You are in a super fortress covering hundreds of hectares, protected by thick layers of barbed wire fences. There are minefields, watchtowers with searchlights scanning the sky, and firepower from artillery, tanks, and helicopters ready to react. This was considered the safest place in South Vietnam at that time. Yet, every time night falls, ghosts appear. A deafening explosion rings out in the heart of the base, and machine gun fire erupts from thin air. When the quick reaction force arrives, all that remains are the bodies of comrades and a chilling, haunting silence. No retreating footprints, no cut fences, no enemy bodies. The enemy seemed to manifest from the ground, then vanish. For months, reports on the brigade commander's desk repeated one thing: attacked last night. Enemy vanished. No contact established. The US military spent billions on remote sensing, infrared, and terrain mapping, but they missed a massive military mistake. They built their massive base directly on top of a 250-kilometer network of enemy tunnels. An underground city below. Welcome back. Today, we decode one of the greatest and most haunting military wonders of the 20th century, Cu Kai. This is not just a war story, but an epic of human endurance, of how people with bare hands won. Using simple hose, they defeated the most modern war machine on the planet. To understand Cu Kai, go back to 1940. The tunnels weren't an instant plan. They resulted from 20 years of persistence. Initially, they were single bunkers for hiding. But when Americans arrived with superior firepower, Cu Kai people understood, to survive, they must turn the earth into allies. Why Cu Kai? The answer lies in the unique geology. Beneath the surface is a special layer of laterite clay. When moist underground, it is quite plastic and easy to dig. But when exposed to air and dried, it hardens. This soil doesn't collapse under tank pressure, resists water, and even withstands heavy artillery blasts. They chose it for perfection. Imagine the construction. No excavators, no laser GPS, no dump trucks. The only tools were short-handled hose and rattan baskets. People dug at night to avoid scout planes. Soil was put in baskets, dumped far away, or spread on fields. They even dumped it into rivers to leave no trace of new soil. Each tunnel entrance was a camouflage masterpiece. Only 60 centimeters wide, perfect for small Vietnamese but a nightmare for large US soldiers. Covered with wood, leaves, or grass. Some entrances were deep under streams or ponds, forcing one to dive underwater to find the way up into tunnels. By the mid-1960s, when the US 25th Infantry Division arrived, the system had evolved into a complex three-level structure. Level 1, 3 meters deep, for combat and temporary shelter. Deep enough against standard shells and heavy tanks passing above. Level 2, 6 meters deep, safer during intense bombing. Level 3, 9 to 12 meters deep. The final fortress. It could survive even B-52 carpet bombings. Each level connected by vertical shafts with water and gas-tight hatch covers. If US troops poured water into Level 1, those below just closed the hatch. If they pumped gas, vents isolated. This system had an answer for every attack. But tunnels weren't just for hiding. It was a vibrant, living city. Below were field hospitals with operating tables, where surgeons worked by candlelight while the ground above shook from heavy bombs. There were Hoang Cam stoves with ingenious smoke vents. Smoke was channeled through many chambers, filtered, and dispersed far away. This prevented US scout planes from locating cooking fires. There were weapon workshops where unexploded US bombs were dismantled for explosives. There were even large halls for performances and rest areas for thousands. At its peak, 10,000 people lived underground simultaneously. They gave birth, married, and fought right beneath the feet of American soldiers. The US tried every way to destroy. They launched 5 major operations with the most brutal methods. First was bombing. In 1965, Operation Rolling Thunder began. B-52s dropped thousands of tons of explosives, turning Cu Kai into a lunar landscape full of craters, no green grass. Americans believed nothing survived. But the third level remained intact. Vietnamese waited for bombs to stop, then used the craters. Second was Agent Orange. They sprayed chemicals to destroy the jungle, stripping nature's protection. The forest died, but tunnels didn't. Losing bushes actually helped those inside observe US troops more easily from secret vents. Third was pumping water and gas. U.S. engineers pumped millions of liters of water and CS gas into entrances. But U-shaped structures blocked the water and gas. Americans only flooded 2% of the system. 98% remained functional. Fourth was using service dogs. German shepherds were trained to smell. However, guerrillas had a clever countermeasure. They used clothes of captured U.S. soldiers or American soap to confuse the dogs. They also scattered pepper powder to destroy the dog's sense of smell. Consequently, the service dog program failed miserably. When high technology failed, the U.S. military used the last resort, sending humans directly into the tunnels. The tunnel rats. These were small-statured soldiers, often Australians, Puerto Ricans, or Asian Americans. They entered dark holes without armor or heavy rifles. Their only weapons were a Colt 1911 pistol, a flashlight, and a knife. A tunnel rat's journey was into hell. Rule 1. Move extremely slowly. Every centimeter could be a plunger stake, poisoned bamboo spikes designed to cause deadly infections. Some traps were designed so when you crawled past, a board with sharp nails would collapse from the tunnel ceiling. But mechanical traps weren't everything. Tunnel rats faced living weapons. Guerrillas placed red-tailed green pit vipers in sealed bamboo tubes. When touched, the snake would bite the face or neck. They also used scorpions, fire ants, and centipedes as defense. In suffocating spaces, human psychology eroded. Gunshots in narrow tunnels shattered eardrums. Darkness was so thick you couldn't see hands. Rats heard the enemy's breath nearby, but no one dared fire, fearing tunnel collapse or revealing their position. Primal senses war. After 9 long years, billions spent, and thousands of lives lost, what was the result? In 1975, the tunnels remained. They were not conquered. 250 kilometers of hand-dug tunnels outlasted the will of a military superpower. Statistics show a shocking truth. The U.S. 25th Infantry Division had the highest casualty rates. Thousands died from an enemy they never even saw. On the Vietnamese side, losses were enormous. Approximately 45,000 people fell protecting the tunnels. But their sacrifice proved a timeless truth. Cu-Chi is more than engineering. It's a symbol of free will. When cornered, when the sky is covered in bombs, you don't give up. You go into the earth. You turn darkness into advantage and scarcity into creativity. Persistence wins wars. Cu-Chi teaches us, no fortress is impregnable without the people's heart, and no hardship is insurmountable with enough persistence. These tunnels remain as a reminder to posterity of the power of intelligence and courage. If this story inspired you, please hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more history. Your support motivates us to dig deeper into heroic history. What do you think about technology versus will at Cu-Chi? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. See you next.